Well, good evening, everybody. We are back. Sorry for the time off. There's a lot
Want
of
to tell
stuff
him what
going on.
happened?
There's a lot of stuff going on. I don't know that I want to talk about it. Um, let's talk about it a little bit. I had a health issue. I'm okay. Uh, basically, a, a horrific shingles attack across the right side of my back that it sidelined me for a week. Like I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was in no shape to do a show last week. So,
Poor
um,
thing.
anyway, it's a lot better. It's not gone. I don't know if you've ever had shingles. Get your shingles vaccine. That's basically what
They
the
don't do
opening of
it
the
until
show
you're
is.
like 50.
It's apparently so. I found it from my dad. He had his first in his late 30s.
Weird.
Never knew. Like I was like, how did you have a shingles attack? And I was never aware of it. Like
Well,
you went
like,
through this medical event, and I missed it.
yeah, like that is weird. Like,
Yeah,
I'm in my late 30s. That's terrifying considering
right.
I had
Yeah, like
very
you think
bad
about like
experience.
that's an over 55 disease. Like it's not
Yeah,
something to
no,
think about.
usually you get your shingles vaccine around 50. I'm like,
Right.
I may not be a spring chicken anymore, but I am definitely not 50. I my next
Right.
big milestone birthday will be 40,
Right.
and it'll be the year after next. So, or
So
well,
yeah.
next year. Sorry, this year
Anyway,
I'll be 39.
uh, it's awful. It's really. It feels like you're being stabbed constantly with tiny, hot needles, and then the area where it is, it's the worst sunburn you've ever had. Like I couldn't sleep. It was awful. It was so awful. Anyway, getting a lot better now, and there's so much to talk about.
Oh god.
Basically we would have to do a show like every 5 minutes
To
to
cover
keep
all
up
of
with
it.
things, and it's not going to like we aren't a breaking news channel. If this like supported me, like if this was like my the way I made my living, maybe we could just do 8-hour streams on Twitch every day and keep up with things. But unfortunately, that's not where we are. Um, but we do have something to talk about tonight, and it kind of ties in. I've written a couple of Substack articles lately about where we are as a nation and where I see where we could end up if we're not careful. However, none of them were written as eloquently as Mike Brock's article that I read yesterday. It is in the description below. It's called "The Plot Against America." We're going to go through the article. We're not going to read the article word for word. That's not the point of tonight. But I want to hit on some points of the article, um, some timeline stuff that he breaks down that I did not break down in my Substacks. Unfortunately, I should have, um, but I didn't, and especially not in the amazing way that he did. And so we're going to talk about that and what's going on, and I think most importantly, why. What is it that, um, people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and Vance are trying to achieve here? What is the ultimate goal? And also why I don't think it's going to work. Um, so again, if you haven't read Mike Brock's article, it is in the description below. I highly suggest it. It is long. It is a very long, involved, and detailed article. I think he said he's got like 100,000 views on it now. I mean, it's a very, very, very popular article making the rounds at the moment. He has also said that he wants to do a pared down, kind of shortened version of it because it is so long and involved. However, what we're talking about here is the intentional dismantling of the concept of self governance, erasing that concept from society is their goal. Um, and it's hard to explain that in a way that is not complex because it's extremely convoluted. And the way in which they're doing it, even though it seems like they're just taking a sledgehammer to everything, they're actually taking like a surgical sledgehammer to things. And I want to get into that too. Um, there is this directional, uh, really bi-directional movement that they're making through the federal infrastructure. And we're not only going to talk about that, but specifically why. That's because why really, 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 really matters, because why gets us to what the ultimate goal that they have here. Um, so I want to start with the term I have in the title, techno-fatalism, which is a term I think I came up with. I don't know, maybe other people have used it. It just, while I was reading Mike's article last night, it just kind of occurred to me because of the way that he was describing some stuff. We're going to get deeper into this, but I want to give kind of a high-level overview at first. So what these guys believe, and when I say these guys, again, I'm talking about Peter Thiel, I'm talking about Elon Musk, I'm talking about J.D. Vance, Vivek Ramaswamy, these tech bro, Benny Johnson, David Sachs, those kind of people. It is their opinion that democracy itself, the concept of self-governance, is corrupt. That there is no way for democracy to exist without corruption. You cannot have corruption-free democracy, so therefore democracy must be abandoned. Additionally, and this is why I said it was bidirectional, democracy cannot coexist with the kinds of technical advances that they believe are necessary for humanity to survive long term. When you hear from these guys, one of the big things they talk about, and someone was talking about it on our YouTube channel today, when they were talking about investing, they got into this whole thing, really annoyed me. One of the things they talk about is a concept called the singularity. You've probably heard of it before, but the singularity is the moment when AI becomes smarter than humanity. When when our inventions can outthink us. That's the singularity. What the singularity provides, though, is a way to upload your consciousness and provide immortality. And all of these guys believe that at some point soon, within our lifetimes, obviously, they're going to literally be able to upload their consciousness into robots and live as immortal people. Spoilers, no. The computing power that your brain uses is magnitudes greater than the greatest computers that are in existence today. There is some theoretical suppositions, some hypothetical suppositions that say at some point with quantum computing that perhaps we could get there. It's all theoretical at this point. But they believe this, and it's one of the reasons why they said recently they wanted $500 billion for all these data centers, right? Because current AI, and we are going to talk about some more specifics in AI. Again, we're just doing a high level overview right now. Current AI is requiring more computing power than the data centers in existence can provide. Which is why DeepSeek, the Chinese DeepSeek thing of last week, whenever that was such a big deal, because DeepSeek claimed that it could do the exact same AI or more AI with less computing power. And if that's true, and whether or not it is really kind of a matter for debate and your opinion at this point, because no one knows whether or not that's true, or if that's true, if DeepSeek is correct that you can do current AI with far less processing power, then it makes the singularity closer, right? And the singularity moment is the moment that these tech bros want, because singularity leads to you can upload your consciousness and you can be immortal.
Yeah, but I mean, barring some sort of like crazy out of left field thing, no one alive today is going to see that. I mean,
No.
maybe if we have like a Starfleet moment,
Well,
and first contact, maybe then, but then it wouldn't be our technology doing it. We would be getting it from elsewhere.
from some alien civilization or something, right? The other thing is that if you talk to anybody that has looked into AI that isn't like financially involved with AI is not really all that complicated. AI is really just advanced text. Like when you're texting on your phone and it's predicting the next word, that's really all AI is. It's just does it more advanced.
I mean, I have been known to enjoy like chatbots where you have like an
Sure,
interactive story like choose your own adventure. That's fun. And
sure,
I enjoy that. Like that is a good use for AI, you
yeah,
know, to give you something to do, to
right,
especially if you're working on like trying to stretch your creative writing muscles. And it doesn't
right,
take from anyone, whereas like AI art, that is taking more
yeah,
from people and it's replacing artists. And if you were using like text bots to replace writers on, say, shows or something like that, then I would have an issue with it. But if it's just a random person just wanting to flex their creative muscles against a computer, okay, you know, go for it.
absolutely. Oh, whoops! I didn't mean to click off hype. Um, yes, and the the computational complexity, AI doesn't think. You can't sit down with ChatGPT and say, you know, what are your, compare how you felt yesterday about this thing to how you feel today. How's your opinion changed? Well, it doesn't have an opinion. AI doesn't have an opinion. It can simulate an opinion, but AI doesn't have an opinion about things. AI is not creatively expressive, right? Like my dog, as much as I love him, he's not going to go get some paint and like paint a painting about how he feels when I don't feed him when he wants to be fed, right? That because dogs don't have the cognitive ability to be creatively expressive, which is one of the things that you need for consciousness. AI to get to creative expressiveness, we don't even have any sort of concept how we would come up with that computationally. Human beings are centuries, at least centuries away from creating the singularity, from creating all of these things that the techno bros have convinced themselves are right on the cusp. That is, they're just over the horizon. They're about to happen tomorrow. Just give us this $500 billion to build all these data centers and bury nuclear reactors in the ground. Yes, that's really a thing. Not getting into it today. That is a thing. Go look it up. Um, we,
It's because they're convinced of their own self importance that this major next step is going to happen in their lifetime.
so, thank you. That is the perfect segue for what we're about to get to. Okay,
See, this is why we're here.
this is why we're here. So that is another important part of how they think and what's going on right now. There is zero justifiable reason to stop all the payments to USAID. USAID expands our national security by projecting soft power across the world. USAID keeps all of us safer, even all the tech bros. It keeps everyone safer because it keeps the world more stable. But for them, they don't believe a stable world is beneficial to the humanity that they want to create. Not even that they want to create, that they see as inevitable. That's a huge part of this that you have to understand. That's why it's techno-fatalism. They believe that the techno future is inevitable, that it cannot be stopped. And so, destroying USAID, pausing all of the payments to Social Security and Medicare. I have a dog over here rubbing all over me while I'm talking. So if you see my arm bouncing, his nose is this is his nose, right, literally right here off camera. Um, so they believe that it's inevitable, that you cannot stop this. So it doesn't matter if you destroy Social Security. It doesn't matter if disabled people die in the streets. It doesn't matter if transgender people remove themselves from the equation. Again, it's YouTube, so I have to cage my language. Um, because the techno future that will provide them immortality can't be stopped. It's coming no matter what you do. So why bother spending all of this money on disabled people and the Trevor Project and Planned Parenthood and NPR because the world's gonna this world will end. Not the world in a whole, but this world that we're currently in will end because the techno future is just over the horizon.
It's the exact same religious dogmatic thinking as the Christian Zionists that
Yes,
want the end times to happen.
which is where we were going next. It pairs perfectly with Christian Zionism and the belief that Armageddon is just over the horizon. This world is about to end, and there's a new world that will come that will provide all of us immortality. Weird that those two things line up so perfectly. One of them is provided by a god, a supreme eternal being. The other is provided by this guy right here, this god that you've got that you carry around in your pocket. And that is why their goals currently align, because the white Christian nationalists who want Christian Zionism, who believe that democracy is corrupt because it provides avenues of degeneracy, drag shows and what the queer people existing, right, aligns with tech bros who say, oh, all of this degeneracy, all of this corruption in the system, by when they say corruption, what they're talking about is giving away money to disabled people, making sure that sick people don't just die in hospital beds or on the street or wherever. They see degeneracy and corruption just by other names. And so that's why currently the tech bros and the white Christian nationalists are kissing in the tree. It's their lobster. And so you've got and it's amazing to see, because these people do not agree. I've got bad news for you. Teal, probably Musk, uh, probably Vance. Well, no, definitely Musk. Probably Vance, Sachs. All of these techno bros, all of them are atheists. Not one of them is a Christian. On any Sunday morning, you're not going to find any of these motherfuckers in a church. Not even one of them. This is an atheistic worldview that there is no afterlife, according to them. So I need to upload my consciousness into a robot.
Because I'm afraid of my own mortality, and
Because
my
I'm
own self
terrified of my own.
importance means I cannot be removed from this world.
Benny Johnson was injecting his own son's blood to stay youthful.
That's some fucking vampire shit, and that's coming from me.
That is that. These are the guys that are currently cheering on Elon Musk as he dismantles self-governance.
They essentially want us to be in cyberpunk, where most people are barely scraping by, and the
Right.
elite few have everything.
Correct. And the way that you extend your own life or fix your injuries, whatever it is by buying from them cybernetics, Neuralink, so, different things to augment your body so that you can experience some semblance of the immortal
Do you
tech
remember
future.
that movie? It was, I think it was like In Time or something, where everybody had like a timer, and
Yeah, yeah, it
like you
was
worked in order to get more
um
time for your
was it
timer.
Justin Timberlake?
Might have been, and Olivia Wilde was in it. Like
Olivia Wilde,
she
right?
played the mother, and like so you basically aged to about like maybe late 20s, early like 30, and you stopped aging, but then you had like a clock in your
Right,
arm, and if you ran out of time, you dropped. And like it was a way of population control. The
right,
working class were basically every you paid for everything with time. Bus fare, you take minutes off your life.
right.
You got paid for services in time. And so it's I enjoyed the movie, but I absolutely believe that these
Kind of a
sociopaths
cool
would
movie.
abs okay, but it's not so much like the execution wasn't the greatest, but
Sure.
it's more the concept. It was the concept that I really liked about it, because
Right.
I very much see the sociopaths, like the tech bros, would absolutely want to install that type of feudalism where it's like they don't even have to do anything, because people are just going to drop on their own when
Sure.
they can't make enough minutes to stay alive. And so it's a self-solving problem where they can live in their gilded towers and not
Right.
worry at all about the people at the bottom.
And that's one of the things that Mike talks about in the article that I really want to get into, because this is one of the things that we've done on this channel for years, is talk about different styles of governance, different styles of politics. It's one of the, it is Maya. Techno is so yesterday. You're absolutely correct. And here's the question that I wanted to propose. Okay, so I have a question for you. So if I say to you, "Hey, Kitty, how does a democratic structured government work?" Well, that's mob rule, right? That's whoever vote. It's the black rocks and the white rocks in the bag. There's more black rocks than white rocks, than the black rocks win, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a democratic system of government. Well, how does a Republican system of government go? Well, I elect a representative, and my representative represents me, votes in my favor. I'm his
One
his
would
or her
hope,
constituent.
anyway.
Right, and that's a Republican style of government. That's a republic. So what we have here is a democratic republic. We have a constitutional republic. We elect representatives at the federal level, of course, the state and local level, lots of different things. But at the federal level, we have a constitutional republic. We elect representatives. Representatives pass laws and appropriate tax funds towards the services that create the government. That's what we've got. Well, these guys are all libertarians. Okay? And if I say to you, what is a libertarian style of government? We have a problem here. Because libertarianism is not anarchy, but it's as close to anarchy as you can possibly get. Libertarianism is basically landlordism. I own land, and if you live on my land, I decide the rules for living on my land. Whatever revenue is, revenue, by the way, in libertarianism, there is no money in libertarianism. Okay, there's services, there's barter, there's trade, but libertarianism would not believe in money, because money would require a lot of regulation. In order to, you've got to have a central bank, and you've got to have interest rates, you've got to have all the different things that you have to have in order for a monetary system to work. So that's one of the reasons why crypto is so popular with libertarian minded people, because if I have my crypto wallet and I've got a bunch of crypto, I can trade crypto with you for whatever you feel my crypto is worth, right? And that's our barter system. And it's corruption free. And we're going to go back to corruption because these techno bros use corruption a lot. If you look through Elon Musk's Twitter timeline, which don't, but if you did, you would see him use the word corrupt a lot. He calls people corrupt. He talks about corruption. That's a word that he uses a lot. Sachs uses it a lot. Thiel, I don't recall him using it a lot in Twitter, but I've seen him use it in like interviews and stuff. Corruption is very central to a lot of their ideas, and they believe that crypto and the blockchain removes corruption, because I can see where you are on the blockchain. I can see what's in your wallet. I can see how your wallet got funded. I can see, it's all public, right? If you spend in and out of your crypto wallet, it's public information. Everybody can see it. They can see where the money went and how it was routed. And that is one of the reasons why they will say that crypto provides a less corrupt monetary system than the monetary system we currently use. Now, it's bullshit, of course, but that's what they'll say, and that's the concept of crypto and the concept of a wallet and all of that stuff at its base. So the idea, I want to start getting into the article a little bit. I've got the article up here on the screen. Again, the article's in the description. It's a little too long. We're not going to just read through the article. Plus, I wouldn't do that to Mike. That would be shitty to just read his work. You should, please, it's in the description. Please go read the article. But for him, a lot of the genesis of this is centered around the 2008 financial crisis. When and a lot of people who are younger now may not recall how dark it got. People lost half of their retirement savings in a day. In a day, half of the money that they had saved up their entire lives was gone. And if you lose 50% of your investments, well, you have to have at that point 100% return to get back to where you were. You have to double your money just to get back to where you were if you lose 50% of it. So this was a devastating, devastating time. It's one of the reasons why the Tea Party rose. It's one of the reasons why Donald Trump rose to prominence. Because Obama, even though he was just president, he had nothing to do with setting up the financial crisis, which had been being set up since the early part of the Bush administration. He was president at the time. And so a lot of people just blamed him because he was president. He was like, okay, well, we're going to fix it. I just got elected. Like, I just got elected and this happened. But okay, I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to do what I can. And it started under Bush too, but Obama was still blamed. The point is that Obama was blamed. It honestly doesn't matter when it happened anymore. What matters is that it was seen as Obama's fault. And it was not only seen as Obama's fault by like the populace, it was seen as Obama's fault in Silicon Valley. And the tech bros said, well, the way to prevent this from happening again is technology. We need to use technology in the monetary system to prevent this kind of corruption from ever occurring again. And that was how crypto started to rise. Crypto started to get popular in 2011 to 2013, somewhere around in there. I remember a friend of mine at work being like, hey, that Bitcoin is only $8. You going to buy any? And I was like, why would I buy Bitcoin? Like, for what? To buy pizzas? Like, I didn't have any concept of it either. A lot of us didn't. We couldn't visualize why you'd want to spend money on fake internet coins. But there was this feeling that it would provide a backstop and a safety to investing, especially retirement investing, moving forward that the banks and the Fed couldn't provide because they were inherently corrupt. Now, I'm not saying that I believe that. I'm saying that is the opinion of the mindset of these people. Now, what that created was this kind of what we talked about a few minutes ago, where you had these techno-fatalists kind of aligning with Christian nationalist ideals. The Tea Party at the beginning kind of came out of the Occupy Wall Street and a couple of other movements that were anti-tax. At the beginning, they were pro-bank regulation. That has changed. But they were anti-tax and they were anti-financial corruption is the right way to say it. Because it was seen as though the federal government could have prevented the 2008 financial crisis and decided not to because Democrats were benefiting more from it. Because at the time, Democrats were seen as the rich elite and the Republicans were the party of the working man. Again, this is I'm talking about mid to late 2000s, talking about Patriot Act era, post 9/11. That was the concept. Wasn't true, but that was the concept. The Democrats were the rich coastal elite in New York and California, and middle America was not Democrat, we're not in the Democratic Party, and the people who were benefiting from the financial crisis were Democrats, rich coastal elite Democrats. And Silicon Valley was like, you know what? We don't want to be seen as rich coastal elites. We have to reform. It is our duty, is what Silicon Valley said, to make sure this never happens again. How do we do it with technology? Crypto. And that started the ball rolling towards what we have today, where the techno bros, who are from Silicon Valley, who are the coastal elites that the Republicans hated when the Tea Party started, are now aligned perfectly with the white Christian nationalist Zionists. And now they love each other. And now they're praying to Elon Musk in the Southern Baptist churches every weekend because he's taking down the rich coastal elites. Elon Musk was working in Silicon Valley. That's where he's fucking from. That's where he made all of his money.
The richest man in the world.
It's where he made his money. It's where his fortune started, was selling PayPal and buying Tesla in California. That's where it started.
These are the same people that are now saying the Sermon on the Mount is too woke. I can't.
I
can't. I have no. There are no words. There are no words.
There's no words.
No words.
There's no word. They have aligned themselves with the people that they said were their biggest enemies, which were the techno rich elite in California.
And now against Jesus, because Jesus is too woke.
Jesus is too woke. And what's funny to me is that what these techno bros are doing is they are turning the Christian right atheist. They're turning them atheist. Think about it. What parts of the Bible are you even allowed to read in these churches anymore? Like the part where Jericho falls? Like there's so much of the Bible that you would just, like when Jesus goes and throws the money changers out of the temple, now he would give them blowjobs? Like I don't...
maybe cursing of the fig tree, because that's not woke, but
like when he raised Lazarus from the dead, he'd be like, well, that's $50,000, bitch. Where's you don't have insurance?
Yeah, like forget healing the sick and curing the blind, hanging out with the prostitutes. Like, nope. Should have worked harder. You should have had that grind set, or just been born to apartheid enjoying emerald miner. Or emerald mine owner.
Spackle brings up a good point. They like Leviticus, they like Paul, and they like Revelation because they can make shit up with that.
But with Leviticus, they pick and choose. They have no problem with eating pork and bacon, even though they shouldn't. And or the mixed fabrics, getting tattoos. A lot. How many of these people do you see with like Jesus or cross tattoos on them? And I'm just like, have you actually read the book? Like, is it just the atheists that are reading the book now?
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter anymore.
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
The book doesn't matter anymore. What Jesus said doesn't matter anymore. The only thing that matters, and I've been thinking about this all day. I cannot come up with what the philosophy of modern white Christian nationalism is. It's literally just break everything. Break everything. Cruelty. Okay, I've talked about this.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Right. I've talked about this before. It's been a while since I talked about this, okay? But I think this ties in, and it kind of is going to seem like I'm going way out into left field. I know. But I think this ties in. All right. So the Christian Puritan view of sex is that sex is for a man the way he achieves kind of like satisfaction, relaxation. It's a sign of his prominence and a sign of his virulence when he engages in sexual intercourse with a woman. Again, we're talking about Puritans here, so right, like don't at me. We're talking about he, him, and she, her. Okay. For a woman, sex is seen as um, a humiliating thing, right? If you have sex, that's humiliating. I can't believe you had sex. It is seen as detrimental. Obviously, if you've lost your virginity, you have
Lowers
lost
your
something.
value
You,
because your property.
your value is lower. Now, if a man loses his virginity, his value is raised because that means women want him. But if a woman loses her virginity, her value is lessened because she's been sullied, right? She's dirtier when she loses her virginity. When she has sex at all. Oh, God forbid she has sex with more than one partner at a time. Oh my God, the dirty.
Or actually enjoy it. Like
We're
it's
not even.
literally supposed to be
I mean,
only for procreation.
I can't even believe. I think any woman that has an orgasm should just be immediately executed. I
It
mean,
just
just
it
right,
must be a
just
witch.
summarily.
Must be a witch. It's the devil's
Absolutely,
doorbell for a reason.
absolutely. Wait, you enjoy being touched upon your dark pee pee parts? What?
Grace, how the
Oh
fuck
my
did we
God,
get
you're.
here?
You know what? That's just vile. Okay, so, but that matters here because that is the old school. I said Puritan, but that's really like the old Catholic way of viewing sex, right? I mean,
Why do you
that's
think
the
so
that
many Catholics break bad, like when they get
sure,
older? Like,
absolutely,
do
absolutely.
you know how many in the BDSM scene are former Catholics?
Oh,
Like,
no. Uh,
yes.
that's a whole other that's a whole other show we got to do sometime. But that is a philosophy that I can sit down and explain to you. This is how they feel about sex, right? And that comes to today, women that are too sexual. I mean, you heard of the halftime show the other day. SCA was up there and people were like, "Oh, she's too what? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why people are so against seeing like to me, I'm like, oh, this is a beautiful woman looking beautiful. Like, great, that's awesome. I enjoyed that.
Can we go
I
back to
enjoyed.
the time when, like, an a halftime show nip slip was like the be
Oh
all end
God,
all of
don't even.
everything?
They should have napalmed the entire
I'm just
stadium.
like, it was simpler times.
But my point
It
is
was
that's a
simpler times.
philosophy that I can easily explain to you. I can point to you in the Bible what the justifications are for feeling this way about spilling your seed and blah blah and blah 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 blah. Right? How do you defend from the Bible saying, let's all of this food that was going to go to hungry people is now just going to rot in ports? Like, how is, in what part of the Bible would Jesus be like, oh, awesome, great job, throw out all that food? Jesus fed, one of the biggest stories about Jesus is that he fed
Loaves
a
and
bunch of fucking
fishes.
people on a hilltop one afternoon because he only had 3 fish sandwiches, whatever the fuck it was. I was,
Loaves and fishes. It was like a
no
loaf
one's
of bread
read
and
that whole thing. It's
like
way
2
too
loaves of bread and
long,
a fish, I think.
sure, why not? It was a couple of tuna cans and some fucking saltines. I don't know. Anyway, but he performed a miracle by feeding thousands of people with, a couple of fucking Lunchables, and that's like a core concept of Jesus. And now it's like, well, no, we don't want to feed hungry people anymore because that's woke, bro. And the Christians are just being tricked. It's honestly kind of sad. I mean, a lot of them are, there's a lot of shitty asshole Christians. But there's a lot of great people that I know that I grew up with that are Christian that were just nice people. But they've just been tricked to believe that the source of corruption, the source of degeneracy in our society is its diversity. When you have in your society with you as a Christian, someone that doesn't believe as you do, that is the source of all corruption and degeneracy in society. And if we could remove all of those people from society, except for the really rich ones. Hold on, here's the thing. The really rich people that don't believe that I do and go to church, they're fine, right? Like Elon Musk, I wonder if Elon Musk has ever been like within 100 yards of a church, much less he doesn't go to fucking church. Do you think Elon Musk goes to church on Sundays and like listens to a pastor give a sermon and shit? And like, I know in a lot of the Protestant religions they don't take communion, but can you imagine Elon Musk like on his knees in front of the altar as the priest like blesses him and like taking communion? Like, can you imagine that?
Unless it was laced with Special K, probably not.
Of course, of course. Yet, I want you to find, go ahead, go find one Christian who's a Trump supporter who would say a bad word about Elon Musk. They love him. And they love him because they see the cruelty that he is pushing upon the American people as removing degenerates from society. And by removing those degenerates from society, society will collapse, Armageddon will come, and everyone's going to fucking die. And if you went to them and said, yeah, but what about these tech bros that want to replace everybody with robots and upload their consciousness to become immortals, they'd just be like, it's fine. They wouldn't care.
Well, because they're not mutually exclusive to them. They get to go to heaven. They don't care what happens to the fallen world once they've been raptured. It all goes back to the self-importance and the fact that they are absolutely convinced they are right. So the Christian nationalists are convinced that Armageddon's coming any day now and they will be raptured and they get paradise. And, the tech bros, we're going to have the singularity any day now. And they get techno-raptured when they become immortals. Like, it's the same fucking thing. It's just a different skin. Like, it's a Fortnite skin just slapped over it.
And it's bizarre how they're feeding off each other when they are diametrically opposed. These two sides should repulse each other. I don't even know the right word, but it's like putting two poles of a magnet together. And right now they're just being forced together. And they're gonna pop off. And that's how I kind of want to finish things tonight. Is there's a couple of things to understand. We kind of touched on some of this, but I want to reiterate. AI is nowhere near a motherfucking singularity. I got bad news for you. AI is fucking dumb. All right? My dog's smarter than AI. AI is just predictive text algorithms. That's all it is. They're just really advanced ones. And what they did is they fed a bunch of information, books, plays, movies, into the text predictive algorithm so that it got really good at predicting text. So that when you say, hey, ChatGPT, what's a great recipe for fucking Swedish meatballs? I don't know.
Ooh, I love Swedish meatballs.
It has a bunch of Swedish meatball recipes, and it'll say, I'm going to repeat back to you these Swedish meatball recipes, but I'm going to change some of the wording in a few places and some of the sentence and paragraph structure so that it feels like I created it, but I'm just parroting other shit. And that's AI. And that's as smart as AI is. And you can make it sound...
It's just Google, but a little bit fancier than just the basic.
Google. It's fancy Google that you can make sound like Scarlett Johansson. And that's AI. That's as advanced as we've gotten as human beings. Guys, we are fucking cavemen. Still. We're still just cavemen. We have nicer cave. This is a nicer cave than like much a cave nicer. I could go find or like, hammer out of the rock. We're cave people. I want to be inclusive. We're fucking cave people with fancy toys. AI is not anywhere near the ability to creatively express its own feelings. That could be 1,000 years from now. We are nowhere near thinking machines. And especially not thinking machines that you could upload your consciousness into. We're not there. I'm sorry. We're not there. we might be close to some cybernetic stuff. There's some interesting stuff happening, not just with Neuralink. Uh, Unfortunately, Neuralink has done some exciting stuff. They've done some horrible stuff. I'm not whitewashing what they've done. Um, but there's some exciting stuff with people that have spinal injuries that are able to control computers with eye movements and facial movements and tongue movements and and thinking, having different emotions and different electrical impulses coming out of their brain. Some of that stuff is really, really exciting. It's not next week going to turn into Darth Vader costumes
No.
or Iron Man suits.
But could it be used for, maybe like if you have, a prosthetic arm, allowing you like tactile sensors for
Sure.
like temperature, pressure, kind of thing? Like, yeah, that we could probably, we're,
And
we're probably pretty
there's
close to
some of that.
that.
There's some of that with there are some prosthetic limbs where you can like lift up like champagne flutes, like stuff that because you can control the pressure.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying where you actually would get more of like a
Oh,
sensory
feedback. Oh, I
feedback,
see what you're saying. Right, right, right.
so that, you would know this is hot, this is soft, this is like, how much pressure you're putting in. I think that is, within the next 10 or 20 years, we should have that. But that is still a very far cry from Darth Vader, or even Luke's fucking arm
Yeah, Luke's
in,
hand. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Luke's hand is way beyond anything
Well,
like that we're going to have for at least 50 years.
at least. Spackle says, I think that's something I'm not thinking about, Dom. What I'm thinking about is programs that make decisions and choices similar to what we saw with United Healthcare. Yeah, Spackle, but those are just spreadsheets, right? Like that's just an algorithm. That's just if then statements and while loops and stuff. I mean, that's not. Excuse me. It's not thinking. It's not Jarvis
Yeah,
or
it's
Friday.
Excel if thens only on a massive scale.
Right, right. It's just if thens with some medical coding put in and say and I mean,
If
you
cancer,
know,
deny claim, let die.
well, but life insurance companies, right? They've had actuarials and people that work in underwriting for 170 years that have said, hey, if you want to get life insurance and you've had these diseases and this is your lifestyle and all that different stuff, here's how much you have to pay for life insurance because of your risk factors and how long we expect you to live and everything. They didn't need any fucking AI to do it. They just did fucking pencil on a spreadsheet for 100 of those years, right? So the AI is just that, but more advanced. But it's not. You're not sitting down with AI where it's like inventing this stuff. You're just putting the information in, having it do the actuarial tables, and spit out a response. But it's not coming up with new systems and creating new things on its own. AI is not sending you an email and saying, hey, I've got a really great idea for an opera. Can you brainstorm with me on this idea for an opera that I have? And you're like, sure, AI, let's brainstorm together on your opera idea. Well, what does it say? And the AI is like, well, when I was growing up as a little AI, I had a lot of problems with my AI dad. And, I want to express some of those experiences and some of those memories that I have through opera, through this opera that's based around a leprechaun who gets thrown into a time portal and comes out in a universe populated only by dogs with human hands. And you're like, you know what, AI,
That
that's a
sounds
great idea for
horrifying.
a premise for an opera. I'm going to help you. Like, that's not happening. AI is just predictive text algorithms. And it's not, it has zero ability to be creatively expressive based upon its own experiences. And what's more important is we as humans don't know how to create that. We are nowhere near having the ability to create that kind of AI. We're not 5 years from it. We're not 50 years from it. We're probably not 500 years from it. That is incredible. We don't even understand how it happens in our own bodies yet. So we're not going to be able to come up with software that does. And then there's people that are like, well, what we'll do is we'll train AI to make smarter AI. But all you're doing is getting a book, telling a computer to read a book and rewrite the book. AI is not in a place where it's going to create more complex systems than it already is. Not without human input. With human input, with creative expressionism, we can expand. We can, but
Otherwise,
that's
it's
not 5 years.
multiplicity, and it's just going to keep getting dumber, like
Well,
as you
or
go down
it's
the
just
line.
gonna it's just gonna barcode. It's just gonna stay. It's just gonna stay even. Um, because there, I have bad news for the tech bros, but we have limitations upon our minds as well. We are you. We can't even try to conceive a billion light years. How far away a billion light years is. Think about it this way, okay? And these are you know example distances. But if this golf ball in front of me right now, okay, was the moon, right? Earth would be like out in the parking lot and would be the size of like a basketball. All right? And that's from the Earth to the moon.
Where we've been.
Where we've been. It took us 6 fucking days to get there. And that's the Earth to a moon. Conceive of a billion light years. You can't do it. Our human brains are incapable of doing it.
It's
You
the same thing with
cannot
time.
conceive those
You
kinds
can't
of.
conceive of like forever, like eternity. Like
Sure,
you
but
have
I'm
no
just but
conception.
I'm just talking about distance, right? So how would we get an AI to conceive of it?
Yeah, if we can't do
Something
it.
that we're incapable of conceiving. How do you get there? Nobody know. Here's the thing: there isn't an answer because no one fucking knows because it's not possible. That's the answer. The answer is that we can't. Yet, the problem is that the people who think that we can are in charge of the government right now, and they're breaking all of the social structures that you depend on. I don't care who you are. You depend on them. They are breaking them because they believe that techno-fatalism is inevitable, that they are inevitable, that their immortality is inevitable, not your immortality.
Just them.
Not your immortality, their immortality. They believe that they are going to own all of the property and that you will work like serfs upon their property to provide the services that they need. That is the future that they believe is inevitable. And so wrecking all of the social structures that you depend on for your life is fine. Because they
They
don't
basically
care because they're
want
going to upload their brains into a robot.
they basically want kind of a modified like Shadowrun system where corporations are their own like kingdoms, and if you live on corporate land, you are owned by the corporation. You pay with corporate money, like your money that you earn from the corporation cannot be spent anywhere else. It is literally corporate towns, but
Right.
bigger. They have their own militaries. They have, everything. They're little mini fiefdoms that are run by a corporation, and that's basically what they want. They want to block out different areas for like the most wealthy and well-connected oligarchs to have their own little kingdoms
Right.
and fuck everybody else.
Right. And that's why Elon taking surgical sledgehammers. So somebody said on Blue Sky the other day, and I forget who it was. I think it was Joyce Vance. I'm sorry if it wasn't Joyce. I think it was. Said if Elon was worried about corruption in the Treasury, why didn't he hire forensic accountants? He brought in programmers. He didn't bring in forensic accountants to uncover corruption in the system. Brought in young programmers. Because what he wants to do is rewrite where the money is going. He doesn't care about corruption. He cares about whether or not the money's ending up in his pockets. Not only to enrich himself, but to make sure that you aren't rich. He wants to make sure that you can't get your hands on any property and own any property when the techno future arrives. He
Because
needs to
he's got to
keep
have
you
willing
down.
servants.
Right. He needs servants. And here's the thing. Unless you're already a billionaire right now, I'm talking about you. We're all in this together. There's a
Even
bunch of people that
millionaires.
like, oh, I hate these guys because the one's queer and the one's are progressive and he's wearing a Star Trek shirt and I hate them. They feel the same way about both of us. We're on the same side. You might hate me. You might despise me. You might
You
want to
might.
see horrible things happen to me.
Mm,
They feel about me the same way they feel about you.
yes, because this is a class struggle,
Right.
not a political one. It's
No,
not right versus left, it's top versus
they
bottom.
don't care about any of that.
And like I said, even millionaires are not going to escape. Like it is the billionaire class that are going to run away with all the money. And
Do,
unless you're like, if you've got maybe $500 million, yeah, you're probably going to be okay. But if
maybe.
you've just got like $1 or $2 million of net worth, no, you're down on the bottom with us, homie.
Do you really think? Here's my question for everybody out there that loves Elon. Do you really think that the guy with 12 kids, 13 kids, who does ketamine all the time from like 3 different wives, cares about degeneracy? You really think that's what he cares about? You think he cares about degenerates in society?
Mm-mm.
Really? That's not what he cares about. What he cares about is owning all the property to make all the rest of us his slaves. All
And
the rest of
being
us.
adored and worshipped.
And being adored and worshipped by his serfs.
He wants to be a god king.
Yeah. No,
Like
no, 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 no,
Elon
no, no, no.
wants to be
No,
the
no, no, no.
emperor from 40K.
No, he already believes he is.
All right, fair, fair.
He does not
He is
believe
that
that anything
delusional.
has to happen except that he's. Here's the other thing, and I want to finish with this because I've been meaning to write this in a Substack article. I just haven't gotten around to it. Elon Musk is not a Nazi. He's not. Elon Musk is not a Nazi. Elon Musk thinks it's hilarious that you think he's a Nazi because Elon is just going into all of these government programs and just shutting them down and hurting all of the people who love him, and they still love him. He thinks it's funny that he's breaking everything and hurting all the people who support him, and they still support him. He's not a Nazi. Now, is he a bigot? Yeah, he's a bigot. Would he care if a bunch of Jewish people and disabled people and homosexual people died? No, but he's not. He's not reading Mein Kampf and like, this is the way of the world and everything. I mean, he believes that white people are superior to every other race.
But
He
I don't think
believes
he necessarily wants death camps because, if you kill them, they can't serve and
he
worship
can't.
you.
Right? They can't be so. I don't. He's not a Nazi. He's a very evil man.
Oh,
I'm not
absolutely.
defending Elon Musk in any way, shape, or form. But he's not
Racist
a
Lex
Nazi.
Luthor.
He's a sociopath. And probably a psychopath on at least some levels. Definitely a narcissist.
Yeah, I could see him pulling a Bateman.
Right.
Like I could absolutely see him going
But
full Patrick Bateman.
but like the Nazis were annoyed that trans people, gay people, Jews, all of those other marginalized groups, they were angry that they existed. Elon doesn't really care about those divisions. Like, I don't think that Elon sees himself as racist. He just believes that white people are naturally superior to every other.
He might on it. He grew up in apartheid South Africa. I think everybody
But
knows.
that's what I'm saying.
Like
I think Elon is one of those I have black people that go to my church
mm,
racists. And there are black people that he'll gladly associate with. There are people of other like do you remember that scene in Schindler's List where Schindler kisses the Jewish girl and then he gets in trouble?
uh-huh.
And the Nazis like, "Oh, well that's the law." Like I know it was just a joke. You were at the party, you got carried away, you kissed a Jewish girl, but it's the law now. You cannot
Yeah.
kiss a Jewish girl, right? Like that's a Nazi mindset. Like it's the law to not associate. And so I don't think that Elon would is like that. Like he wouldn't be like, well, I'm not going to associate with black people or trans people, or whatever. Maybe disabled people, he would feel that way.
I think it comes down to wealth. Like if they have
But
money,
that's exactly what I was going to say. But like if they were rich, he wouldn't care. Like
yeah.
none of them care that Greg Abbott is in a wheelchair. That he's disabled. Like they don't care about that because Greg Abbott is rich and he's on their side. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. I don't like Elon thinks it's funny that he can go on television, do 2 Nazi salutes, and the next day go take down Treasury and have everybody's social security numbers. He just thinks it's funny. Like, look what I can do. So, anyway, I just wanted to add that on at the end. These guys aren't Nazis. They're not out to kill everybody.
Some of them are.
But I mean, that's not the basis. The basis of the philosophy is not that everyone should die. The
No.
basis of the philosophy is that our technological utopia is inevitable. Democracy is going to fall because the techno-libertarian utopia, I don't even know what the fuck to call it, is the natural progression.
And the strife will, cause the wheat separated from the chaff. So, you have strife, and of that strife, the strong will inherit, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, Maya. Hold on. I know I misspoke. I didn't mean to say, when I said he's not a racist, I meant to say he's not a Nazi. I know I meant to fix that. He is a racist.
Yes, he's a racist.
Absolutely racist. I meant to say he's not a Nazi. And I misspoke. Thank you for bringing that up, because I'm sorry. I should have fixed that and I didn't. But yeah, and that's the thing. There
absolutely were. Spackle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. They're not out. They want the servants. They want us as their slaves. So they're not out to eradicate the population. There's some, like, if homeless people die, they don't care.
Same thing for disabled and queer people.
And disabled people, queer people. I mean, Peter Thiel is gay. Like, so, like, there's some divisions that are okay. It's weird. Like, I think trans people, yes.
Poor queer people, trans people. Like, if you are wealthy and queer, then you get a pass.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of rumors that there was a lot of homosexuality happening in the SS. I mean, that the upper echelons of the SS, that there was a lot of that sort of thing happening. But the point is, the reason I'm bringing this up is they don't...
Authoritarian racist, absolutely.
Right, it's authoritarian racist, but it's not... The end goal is not to put people in ovens and eradicate them from the population on a large scale. Now, some of them, some more like passively letting people die off. Yes. But what they want are they want slaves. So
they're not going to do death camps, likely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're not trying to get rid of everyone else. That's what the Nazis literally wanted there to only be German people, right? Like, that was the end goal, that there's only Germans. They're not trying to create that. What they're trying to create is a caste system. So they're not trying to kill off the lower class as a whole. They might want there to not be disabled people. But they're not trying to kill everyone else. What the Nazis wanted was there for only to be the Germans. And so my point is that the tech bros aren't saying that there should only be tech bros. They want the slaves. They want the rest of us to be their servants. They want us to survive, as long as we're surviving within the rules and regulations that they're putting forward for us.
But Aunt Jer, yeah, I agree that, Peter Thiel is useful until they run out of other people to send to the camps. Like, Peter Thiel will eventually not be in the in club, because
here's the thing. Thiel is Musk and Vance's mentor. He is their mentor. I mean, he's the genesis of a lot of this thinking for, like, the tech bros. There's a lot of Silicon Valley that holds Peter Thiel to higher esteem than Elon Musk. They really, really love Peter Thiel.
But here's the thing, Elon Musk isn't gonna like that. And so that makes it all the more
I mean, he's been
likely.
dealing with it for a decade and a half
Because
at
he
this point.
hasn't really had the kind of power, reach, and influence that he's gaining in
Maybe,
his current like position.
maybe
Like
that
he
he's trying
wants
to
he
show that
wants
he's
to be the
bigger than
God King
Daddy Teal.
Emperor. So
Right.
like he needs to show he's got the bigger D energy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. He's got the BDE over Teal. I just they hold Teal to such a high. I mean, they deify Teal. I mean, I've even seen Musk deify Teal. And I mean, Vance. I mean, Teal pulled JD Vance out of nowhere. I mean, he was nothing, and Teal created JD Vance from ashes. Um, yes, I do. I do think they have loyalty to anyone who can put forward new innovations within the AI sphere and bring the singularity closer. They absolutely do. They will absolutely, um, maybe not indefinitely, but if you can do something for them, I mean, look what happened with the kid that made all of the hate comments. Elon brought him right back. Elon brought him right back because he's currently, first of all, he loves that he's racist. He's bringing him back because it pisses off the left, and that's one thing they love to do is make leftists angry. It's like their main goal in life is to make people they
And like
disagree
how
with politically
sad is
angry. It's
that?
very weird.
Like honestly, it's
It's so
sad.
bizarre. It's such a bizarre thing. It's like, oh, look at all these mad liberals, and it's like, that's what you do with your day? Really? That's like what you care about? Okay.
It's like
You know,
maybe like
no,
hug your kids, like pick up a hobby, get
I don't think
laid.
a lot of
Like
them
there are
like their
tons of
kids.
other things you could be doing.
I don't think a lot of them like their kids. They like kids. I don't think they like their
Mm.
kids very much. Um, hmm, dum uh, so yes, there is loyalty within them, but it's transitory. All of their loyalty is transitory. So it's that's what I'm saying. It's this very atheistic, transactional form of philosophy, and it's hard to quantify because there the, the only thing that matters long term is that they are alive. That's the only thing that matters long term. And again, they're not out to eradicate swaths of the population. In fact, Elon Musk talks all the time that there's not enough babies. Musk is like the anti killing people. He wants more babies. He wants to create more. Now, he only wants to create white kids. Okay? I'm not again, not trying to whitewash it, or
White
maybe that
white
is whitewashing.
children that don't have any types of
That
disabilities.
are not free of that are not free of not beholden to disability, right? Sure, but he's not. I've never seen anything from him, and maybe it exists that seems to indicate where he wants parts of the population to be to be what's I'm trying not to say the G word, to be removed. There we go. Right now, like was said earlier, if they died off, he wouldn't care. But it's not like an active, you know, solution like we saw from the Reich. No, but my point is they'll do it in bursts. They'll do it in strong bursts. I mean, look at this Balls kid that came back, right? Musk just showed him a huge amount of public loyalty and just brought him back. So that's what I'm saying. It's hard to put your finger on it from a moment to moment thing. It's just difficult. It's just difficult. Yes, exactly. He wants white babies. Doesn't want all babies, but he wants more. He believes that the planet needs more people. That the planet
And he
doesn't have more
probably
people.
wants more white girl babies. I'll let you
Well,
figure out
yeah.
why.
I mean, because what he wants long term are more servants. They all believe that the techno
Need more brood
fatalistic
mares.
libertarian utopia is inevitable and it cannot be stopped. And it will only benefit them, by the way. It won't benefit you or me or anyone that's watching this. You won't benefit from it. Um, you get some Schadenfreude when the people you don't like are in pain, I guess. You'll get that. Yay. That's great. Because they believe that self governance itself is corrupt, is inherently corrupt. That's what they believe. They believe that self governance creates corruption because people are not capable of managing themselves. And when you allow people to control their own lives, they'll devolve into degeneracy,
Yeah, we
which
haven't
is,
had true self-governance for a while now, especially with Citizens United, because like
well,
the politicians don't actually vote in favor of,
sure.
representing the people.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
already
I
under
agree with
their
you,
control anyway.
but it's the same philosophy that white Christian nationalists have, that sin is inherent and that we're all sinners and we're all bad people and we need God to absolve us of our sin. It's the exact same thing. It's just the tech bros believe the only ones that are without sin are them. They can do anything they want. Again, Elon Musk has like 3 baby mamas and like 12 or 13 kids and does ketamine all the time. Right? And but he wants to talk about degeneracy anyway. It's fine. Maya, yes. Yeah. But at the same time, it's not that he doesn't want the other ones. It's just that the other ones, he wants a caste system. He wants the lowest of the low. He wants the middle caste, and then he wants him and the tech bros at the top. That's the he doesn't. It's not a philosophy of death. I think it could become. I'm not saying that it will never get there. I'm just saying if you look at what Teal and Musk and these other guys, Stewart, what's his face? He's here in the article. I forget his name. Stewart Yarvin, or Curtis Yarvin. I'm sorry. Have said they're not talking about an eradication of populations. I'm not saying they'll never get there. We're just talking about the things that they've said and done up to this point and why they've done it. That's the important part. They've not talked about this kind of eradication thing. It's more about we can't let people determine their own destinies because they'll do it in a way that is corrupt and degenerate.
Yeah, they would absolutely institute a, kind of the alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon. Well, epsilons, I mean, they would not do the epsilons. They,
Maybe
though
not the
they,
epsilons. Maybe not the
but,
epsilons.
but down to delta, they would
Right.
absolutely, they would be the
Well,
alpha.
because they want people that are never capable of getting where they are, and they want other people who are obsessed with trying, because they get their sugar rush off the people that are obsessed with
And
trying
that's
to
the
become.
betas. You have the alphas
Right.
where they would be. The betas would be the ones that think they might have a chance, even though it's not
They
possible,
don't.
but
They
that's the
don't have a
adoration.
chance, but they think they do.
Then, the gammas would be your like, middle management, like or
Sure.
like white class, and then the deltas would be your grunt work.
Grunt work. Crushing rocks in the mines. I believe it was meth. I don't think it was cocaine. I think it was meth that the Nazis were using.
Yeah, no, the Nazis were addicted to methamphetamines.
It
Yes,
was methamphetamine. Yeah, yeah,
yes, it was meth.
yeah. Well, that's Maya. What I'm saying is they're not to this point. There's not been talk of intentional removal, but passive removal is fine. Obviously, I mean they're destroying the infrastructure of the United States, which is going to result in the deaths of,
Anyone needing Medicaid,
I mean,
food
probably
stamps,
a couple of million people if it's not stopped. I mean, there could be millions of people that die because of the things that they're doing. Yeah, sure.
disability, Medicaid, food stamps,
Sure.
really any type
Medicare,
of
Medicaid, Social
assistant, Medicare.
Security. I
Yeah,
mean,
all of those
you
things.
know,
And that is a huge chunk of the population that gets at least one of
Yet.
those programs.
Yes, guys, I am saying yet. I'm not saying that they won't get there. We're talking about, remember, we're talking about a very specific article and things that are in that article, and we're talking about how we got to where we are and how it's evolved. Not saying it'll never get there.
But we're not there
Point,
yet.
right. Saying to this point, that hasn't happened. I'm Maya. I'm saying what he's done thus far that make you call him one or think that he's one is because he thinks it's funny. I'm not saying it's never going to happen. I'm saying up until this point, he's done it because he thinks it's funny that you get pissed off at him, but you never stop. You've never stopped. No one's stopped him from doing it. And he doesn't suffer consequences when he does it. Oh, he had to go to the Auschwitz Museum. I can't even talk. He had to go to the Auschwitz Museum.
Okay, that killed an afternoon. What does he fucking care?
That's the biggest consequence that he's faced thus far from his anti-Semitism. That's it.
And he got a trip to Germany out of it. Like, he went to Germany, spent an afternoon at Auschwitz, and that was it.
And
then he got praised by his fucking sycophants that it's like, see, he totally understood. Like, it's look what he did. He loves Jews. Give him credit.
In fact, while he was there, he offered 3 different Jewish women horses for sex. That's not true. I made that up.
I would believe it though.
It's not true.
I mean, we heard about that flight attendant.
Allegedly.
Or whatever.
He allegedly offered alleged horses for alleged sex. Allegedly. But it's not true. I made it up. Oh, Andrew Tate's a Nazi. Oh, 100%. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. It's a totally different thing. Andrew Tate's 100% a Nazi. 100%. 100%.
Absolutely. Like 100%. Card carrying.
That was what, like 2 years ago when he went to Auschwitz? Maybe it was last year.
Didn't he go with Netanyahu?
It was last year. He went. Yep. It was when he said...
It was around the Kanye thing, wasn't it? Where, like, he defended Kanye, saying,
he defended Kanye. But he said something very specific about, like, well, who cares? That's not what he said.
Yeah, and he was, like, JQ posting, too. And so, like, he got called out on it, and I think Netanyahu took him to Auschwitz.
And Netanyahu took him to Auschwitz, yeah. It was about a year. It was a year or so ago. It was last year.
Yeah, it was around the time of the Kanye meltdown. Yeah, the Nazi freak out on Twitter.
We've gone too long. We do this all the time. Guys, please read the art. If you have not read Mike Brock's article, please do it.
Down in the
description. Again, it is long, but it is very involved, and it will tell you a lot about why we're here, how we got to here. He does a lot of historical speculation, a lot of quotes from a lot of these people, what they've said over the years, and why they've said different things. Please go watch it, and please get your shingles vaccine. Please, dear God, get your shingles vaccine. You do not. Trust me, you don't.
I'm fucking terrified.
Well, that's true, Maya. That's you do have to narrow that down a little bit. You have to narrow that down. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.